Good evening, everybody. May I audible?
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Okay. So now we to what's the next day 4, session 7. Our guest also already joined with us. So Nitin sir, very good morning. Nitin sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Very clearly.
Okay. All right.
So now start with the third day of FDP. Welcome to all for today's first session. Topic application of AI in hospitality industry. For this session, today's expert is Nitin Karande sir, CTO of Dwarpal Incorporation, Ohio, USA. Mr. Nitin Karande is originally from Kusesawadi, Satara district from Maharashtra. He began his career in Pune, later worked in Hyderabad, and he moved to the United States in 2007, where he currently settled in Cincinnati in USA. He has over 20 years of industry experience. He has worked across banking, healthcare, and hospitality domain. In 2020, he co-founded a startup in hospitality domain, Dwarpal Incorporation. He continues to follow international cricket closely, and he is also a keen follower of American football. So now Nitin sir is joined with us. Welcome, sir. So I request to the Nitin sir to start the session. Over to you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Rahul sir. Good evening, everyone. And thank you for this great opportunity to present the topic that is very near and dear to me, because I have been working in hospitality industry for quite some time now. We started our company Dwarpal back in 2020. So and before that also I have been as Rahul sir said, worked in different domains. So without further delay, I will get into my presentation and we'll start with today's topic. Okay, so I will start sharing my screen. Let me know if you all able to see it.
Yes, sir. Please share.
Okay, all right. Let me start presentation. Okay. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Clear, clear.
Okay. All right. So give me 1 second. I'm just trying to move this bar. All right. So yeah, as we'll get started right away. I know we have close to 80 to 90 minutes, so I'll try to focus on mainly some practical example and few academic insights as well. So that will be useful for your day-to-day operations, and you can use this information in your academic as well. So mainly we'll focus on application of artificial intelligence in the hospitality industry. And as you all know, hospitality is traditionally known as a people-driven industry. So when we talk about automation, AI, right? Behind the scene, there are so many a large number of operational and managerial decisions that goes behind the scene, right? So artificial intelligence in this domain or industry really helps hotels make those decisions that go on day-to-day operations more efficiently and consistently. Right. So what we'll do is throughout this session, we will look at AI, how it supports existing system and improves service quality, reduces operational cost, enhances guest satisfaction. So that is what is going to be focus, overall throughout this presentation that I have for close to say 30 slides that we'll be covering. So without further ado, I'll get into so this is how at very high level agenda or session that I have organized for today. So we'll start with what is hospitality industry and AI readiness for this industry. Now I know that these sessions have been going on for a couple of days now, and I did go to some of the recordings. All other presenters, speakers have really done great job explaining some of the basics of AI, ML, also few other topics. So there may be some overlap. I'll try to keep that minimal because as I said, I have gone through recordings, and I'll make sure that I'm not boring you with like repetitive tasks or repetitive information. But there may be still some overlap when we talk about some high level concepts or some overlap. So we'll get through that. So that will be our first topic. Then second one, just some differentiation between what is AI versus just regular automation analytics that has been in all industries. Basically, when we talk about automation or analytics, it has been there in all industries for quite some time. So how we are evolving from all these automations to AI. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Then we'll get to real real world hospitality examples and some applications like guest journey and what AI applications are. Then we'll talk about most commonly used chatbots or how personalized services can be provided to the guest using smart rooms. There's also when it comes to hospitality, there's a lot of energy that gets spent because let's say you have 50-room hotel or 100-room hotels. Based on your occupancy, your AC or other units, right, throughout your hotel building, there's a lot of room for energy saving, energy optimization. So how AI can be used for that. Then we have revenue and maintenance, right? So when I talked about just energy, you have individual AC units or PTAC units. Then there is a lot of other equipments on the building that you'll have regular maintenance staff, but how you can build some intelligence so that you can save on maintenance, or more than saving, you get some advanced insights onto what that maintenance expenses are going to be. And obviously revenue, right, which is really what side of your business as to what is daily expenditure, how much money really as a hotel owner or customer, general manager, or if it is in corporate chain like Marriott's, right? How that revenue is being managed. And then we'll get into a little bit of system architecture. What is common system architecture? What are some of the common applications that are being used in hospitality? Data and cloud versus edge AI when it comes to some of the hardware, or what we call as IoT devices. So we'll talk about that. Then being very human oriented industry as a hospitality, we'll talk about some of the ethics or challenges and what could be a faculty role. I know there have been, or there is on schedule to talk about robotics in other topics as well, but I'll briefly touch that part as well when it comes to hospitality. What is physical AI? That is what robotics is, and how that is being used or just starting to get used. It's just picking up in hospitality industry. And then we'll look at few case studies, some of the hotels in India or global, and then we'll conclude with what are some of the future trends, key takeaways from this session. So that's how overall throughout next hour or so we'll go through this information. So feel free to stop any point, or you can gather your questions, and once we are gone through all slides, we can as time permits, we can take some questions and give answer. I'll obviously share my email and other information. You can always reach out to me offline as well, even after session, if you have any questions or anything that I can help with. Okay. All right. So with that said, we'll get into next slide as to what is hospitality industry, right? To understand those applications, and most of all of us, we know, because at some point we travel, and if you have traveled across your state, country, world, you see hospitality industry everywhere, right? Because it includes hotels, resorts, your serviced apartments, or any other service-based accommodation businesses. And what makes this industry unique is that the product and the services are consumed at the same time, right? So that's why guest satisfaction depends being maintained. But it also depends on service side of it, right? Which is staff behavior, service speed, and consistency, right? So that's why this industry is extremely competitive. And as an individual, and I do same thing, and obviously everyone obviously probably do that, is whenever you are booking any hotel or accommodation, obviously we compare prices, we look at reviews and experiences, right? Instantly using online platforms. So even small operational inefficiencies can lead to negative reviews, or which in turn is revenue loss. If your hotel is not occupied, or if it is Airbnb, it is not occupied. If it is small hotel, big hotel, doesn't matter, right? So that is the reason why hospitality organizations are increasingly focusing on cost efficiency, service quality, and data-driven decision making. Okay. Now we'll look at, so with this background, now we'll look at why hospitality is ideal for AI, right? So we'll get into that. There are so many use cases that are coming in today's world on AI. But just from hospitality industry, how we say it's particularly suitable for all these AI use cases, because it generates continuous data, right? Every booking that you do you do it online, or you pick up the phone and call, or sometimes you just walk into the hotel, right? If it is unplanned vacation, or because of some flight delays or your plan changes, you have to find hotel to stay, right? So every booking, check-in, your room service order, if any feedback forms that you use, to collect feedback from guests, all that adds to your data pool, right? There is continuous data that is being gathered behind the scene, right? And at the same time, using this data, hotels make their decisions every day, right? So AI is going to be effective in such environments because um, it learns from these patterns and improves outcomes over time, right? So you have this supporting data that can be used to come up with some patterns on your guest behavior, right? Based on your um, hotel location, what type of guests are normally visiting. So, uh, if that data is being gathered in backend continuously, you could use that data to improve guest experience, and that's the reason we feel that it is right time for hospitality, and ideal for some of the AI use cases. Okay, we'll keep going. So let's talk a little bit about, as I mentioned during our agenda slide, um, some of these concepts or words that you may have been hearing for a long time, right? Analytics or automation or AI. So really, what is difference, right? It is important to clearly understand difference between these terms: automation, analytics, and artificial intelligence, right? Because technology or software industry, right, it's been there for quite some time, and uh, all of these functionalities or technologies being used in all industries, uh, but in general, as a general concept, right, when we say automation, it basically follows fixed rules, right, where um, it's like anything day-to-day job. Let's say you want to send, when you book the hotel or room, you get your reservation confirmation, right? So that's kind of automation, right, where it is programmed in such a way that when I make my payment and confirm my booking, I get email. So that's example of automation, right? So it follows some fixed rules. It does exactly what it is programmed to do, and it does not learn anything new, right? So it's every time you have some behind the scene rules that are predefined, it just follows those rules, right? So that's what is automation. And then when it comes to analytics, it mainly focuses on your historical data, right? So it tells what happened in the past. As I was saying, like there is continuously churn of this data in this industry. So you have a lot of data available to see what has happened in the past, how many rooms were occupied, in last week, month, quarter, year, or same time of the year last year versus year before, or you know. Some some special event is happening in the area, then you may see some high occupancy. So all that information is historical data, and what analytics does is it just focuses on that historical data, right? It tells us what happened in the past. Now artificial intelligence step, it goes one step further, right? It is kind of combination of this automation analytics, but on top of that, what it does is it learns from data, right? So it's not just it's just historical data, but it uses that data as to learn, to make some decision or predict some future outcomes, and that's how it supports better decision making over time, as it learns your guest behaviors or your overall hotel business, occupancy, and all other related data. Okay, keep going. So let's start with guest journey with AI, right? Because when it comes to um, customer for hotel owner, main customer is guest, right? There are multiple personas in this industry. Like when it comes to hospitality, obviously starts with hotel owner, or if there are like some independent hotels or corporate, so hotel owner, and then other your customers is basically guest, right? Or at the end user of your services and product is always going to be guest, irrespective of how that guest has booked the room. Is it through corporate account, or is it online? Is it as part of vacation or business trip, right? It all comes down to guest journey. So, and this guest journey is not just uh, specific to like when guest is on site or in the hotel, but it starts way before arrival and even continues after you check out, right? Asking you feedback, or asking you how we can improve our services, right? So AI supports this entire journey. uh, Before arrival. It can help personalize offers, or make you ready for contactless arrival based on uh, your 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 preferences that you may have provided during reservation, or it may learn from your past stays, as to what your preferences are, right? So it helps personalize those offers, and as you come to the property, it could support contactless arrival, so that way um, you have everything um, ready when you're at the hotel, right? And then once you are at the hotel, during the stay, it can also support, say, using what we call as smart in-stay services, right? So it could have some virtual assistants, or smart locks, smart thermostat. You could have some IoT devices, smart devices in the room that can be held for virtual assistants. And then obviously after checkout, as I mentioned, um, you do provide some forms to the guest. Now understood that it's up to the guest to provide that post-stay feedback. Um, but if like whoever does, or whatever way you can gather that feedback, right? It may not be always post-checkout feedback forms. It could be your um, front desk staff talking with guests during checkout, right? And just putting that feedback in the system. But what the way AI can use this feedback data, like post-day feedback, right? It can analyze that feedback and obviously make improvement, or it will also give you some insights about loyalty, right? That I always prefer to stay in this hotel because I like about these things about this hotel, and now this hotel knows, or the staff knows about enough about me, that I get personalized services, right? And so that's how that throughout guest journey, how AI can be used. Okay. So I'll take quick pause. Are there any questions, or am I going slow, fast? Any feedback so far?
No questions. Any question from participant?
Okay. All right. We'll keep going. Okay. So in today's world, right, as a first use case, a real world use case we'll talk about is AI chatbots. And I'm pretty sure all of us have probably used chatbot at some point in last few years. I know I'd say last 2-3 years it has really picked up, right, with um, each industry coming up with their own version of the chatbots, right? Mainly for customer support, right? So earlier only option is to pick up the phone and call, but now a lot of that is being automated with the chatbots, right? I mean, it could be, and when it comes to chatbot, it could be just as per your pace, you have a chat window open and you are asking questions, and um, part of it that AI can answer using historical data or current data that is available in that context. Uh, it does save a lot of manual stuff, or you don't need to have like 100 people in customer service attending all calls. Only when chatbot is not able to answer, those calls can be directed to the person. So uh, I would say not just hospitality industry, but all industries, AI chatbots are currently one of the most common and visible uses of AI today, right? Because they can be available 24 hours a day and can handle your booking queries, any frequently asked questions, right? Like how far is the airport, or when is airport shuttle, or any questions specific to hotel itself, specific to my stay, or anything happening around the hotel, right? If you're on for vacation, or if you are staying, you have some unplanned stay and you have some time, so what to do around, right? So all those things you can ask chatbot during your stay. And it can help you all even one step further during your stay. It can help you with even service request as well, right? As to you can just type in chatbot or say, hey, I need towels delivered to my room. You don't need to actually talk with person on other side, but end of the day there will be a staff looking at this service request, which are created automatically from this chatbot, and those can be handled, right? And especially in country like India, right, chatbots are especially useful because um, they can also support multiple languages, right? Because each state has its own language, and uh, sometimes it helps to um, address in language that your guest is comfortable with, right? So it can also support multilingual NLP models. I did see that on first day or second day, these some of these things are talked about, right? So it could be WhatsApp, it could be just web, or it could be mobile app where these chatbots can be included. Um, that can reduce your staff workload, and also while improving response time and guest satisfaction, right? Because when it comes to individual staff, obviously they can serve one guest or couple of guests at the same time. But when it comes to chatbot, it's not just your guest on the property, but they can be also serving upcoming guests or guests who have checked out if they had some issues related to their stay. It was like some billing error or some other stuff, right? So it can help with that as well. So we'll keep going. So we'll do a little bit of a demo here for chatbot and how it is being used, or a little bit behind the scene, right? So what happens when guest is asking question to a chatbot? So first step is obviously understanding intent, right, as to what guest is trying to accomplish. And that is normally done using NLP, natural language processing. That I think was a little bit covered in your first session about AI and ML. So once you know what is intent, based on question, is it just generic question, let's say, what are some nearby attractions, right? For that, you have a lot of information available on web that you can pull, or guest may just search Google and get that information. But if that's the intent, he's still coming to chatbot, you understand that intent and provide that information. Or in some case, it could be specific to your property or hotel. In that case, you may need to look into your backend systems, right? So you may need to query your systems, get that information about guest stay, and under based on intent, um, uh, basically gather all that data, and then response is generated in real time, right? So these are really high level 3-4 steps, but behind the scene there is a lot of data churning is happening, right? And these AI models are getting better and better every day. So more data it has, more responses or similar questions that it gets better, right? And it gives responses in real time. So I do have quick demo that I'll pull up right now. Give me 1 second. Let me see how I can pull up that. And let me know if you're able to hear this. Okay, I'm not sure because this is audio chatbot. So I'm hoping you can hear it. So I'll play. So what's happening here is this is what is on left side is your chatbot window.
Southwest Inn front desk. How can
And
I
it's
help you?
asking question, how can I help you?
Hi, can you please turn on the thermostat?
I have turned on the thermostat for you.
Right, so on left side, this is where your room is, and you're already on the property, and it's just asking, hey, I'm feeling hot or cold. Can you just turn on AC for me, right? And there is some automation done already, like before AI step, right? You already have the system available where guest from his phone can actually control thermostat. Now, on top of that, we are just using this chatbot where it can make decision that if guest says that it's feeling cold, or feeling hot, right? Based on whether you can actually turn on, turn off thermostat. So that's what this is doing.
Perfect. Can you change the temperature to 66?
I've set your room temperature to 66 degrees.
Now,
Sounds good. Actually, I feel too cold. Can you please turn off the thermostat?
okay. So are you guys able to hear it? What chatbot
Yes,
is
sir.
saying?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, just one correction, I should have probably done that before demo, but this is for US customers, and in US they follow Fahrenheit. So don't be scared by these numbers, right? This is Fahrenheit, right? So that's what this chatbot is helping guests.
I've turned off the
So
thermostat for you.
we'll keep
Thank you.
going. Few
I
more
wanted
tips.
to ask, do you guys accept cash payment?
We accept major credit cards, but we do not accept cash payment.
Oh, okay. And what are the main pool hours?
The main pool is open from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome. Is there anything else I can help you with?
No, I'm fine. Thank you. Bye.
All right, so this was just a small use case, right? And this is something that we have developed at DARPAL, and it is live at multiple properties here throughout US and Canada. Now, when I talked about chatbot, I also mentioned how it helps multilingual. Like, we have all this data, we have system, this functionality is already working. We really don't need to do a lot of work to convert it into multilingual, right? Like, if, as I was saying, if guest staying at your hotel uh, talks in some regional language, you should be still able to support. So I'll just pull quickly that demo as well. Let me know if you are able to see it. Will not go through full of this, but I'll
You
just
the new AI chatbot that Dwarpal has just rolled out. I wanted to focus on the multilingual aspect. So let's get started. Hi, my name is Ankur.
Hi, this is Southwestern Front Desk. How can I help you?
My English is not that good. Can we talk in Gujarati today?
ચોક્કસ, હું ગુજરાતીમાં વાત કરી શકું છું. તમને શું મદદ જોઈએ છે?
અરે વાહ. તો આપણી હોટલમાં કેશ પેમેન્ટ અલાઉડ છે?
હા. માફ કરજો, અમારી હોટલમાં કેશ પેમેન્ટ સ્વીકારવામાં આવતું નથી. અમે મુખ્ય ક્રેડિટ કાર્ડ સ્વીકારીએ છીએ. શું તમને બીજું કંઈ જાણવું છે?
બીજી મારું એ જાણવું હતું કે હું મારી પેટને લાવી શકું?
હા, પાલતુ પ્રાણીઓને મંજૂરી છે, પરંતુ તેના માટે ચાર્જ લાગી શકે છે.
Okay, so I'll not go through all questions, but I'm pretty sure we have some audience who understands Gujarati language, right? So I just wanted to pick up some different language that I don't know, right, Marathi, but you can understand from Gujarati very close to Hindi, and you can get what guest is trying to ask, right? And this chatbot with same information that is already available, able to answer those questions. Those could be related to your hotel policy, or which is basically if you accept cash versus do you allow paids, and those kind of questions, right? So same information can be used to answer in different original languages. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show as a quick demo. So we'll go back to presentation. Any questions on this demo, what we looked at? Okay. All right. So we'll keep going. So let's get into a little more details, right? As what we just showcased in this chatbot, um, how we can personalize guest experience, right? So modern guests expect personalized experiences rather than just standard service, right? Everyone is getting, what is um, available there. So rather than that, based on my own preferences, if I get personalized experience, that guest, when he is again at same location, he's going to come to your hotel again, right? Because he knows that um, I get personalized experience at this hotel, right? So how AI can help in this side? So AI helps hotels understand these guest preferences using data from their past days and interactions that it may had with chatbot or hotel staff, right? So AI can use all that guest data and um, help or allow hotels to offer relevant room options, services, or any promotions, right? That could help increase your revenue, and also on other side, uh, provide better experience to the guest, right? So that is about a personalized guest experience. Then other thing could be smart rooms and IoT. I touched a little bit about this earlier. So smart rooms basically use this connected device, right? IoT, Internet of Technologies, right? Devices such as sensors or smart lighting or smart thermostat. We saw one example of chatbot where property has smart thermostat, right? That's why over the air or over the internet, it is able to perform those operations, right? You are not getting like remote in hand and trying to change the temperature, or you're not walking to the AC and changing the temperature. Um, if your rooms are already smart rooms, um, that helps in your AI journey as a hotel, because even these smart devices gather a lot of data, right? Like how operations are happening. And then AI can analyze data from these devices to adjust room conditions automatically, right? And at end of the day, it all comes down to your guest comfort, right? So if you have this data from these smart devices, um, it, it 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 can improve guest comfort while also reducing any energy wastage, right? Because let's say I'm out there for vacation, even if I have booked the room, during day I'm going out, there is no reason to have AC on all the time, right? So if you have the smart devices, data that it generates, it can be used to reduce, some of these energy wastage. So we will do I cannot show actual demo for smart room as such, but just again how we talked about a chatbot concept, we'll talk about this smart room AI concept, right? It's a how we sensor can detect occupancy, right? Guest is in or out, even during reservation. And obviously, your booking system called as a PMS, right? Property management system. If it does not have any booking for that room, then also it can make some decisions. But even if room is booked, then it can go one step further using data from these IoT devices to see if really guest is inside room, and then based on that, AI can switch it to comfort mode, or it can revert to eco mode based on those decisions algorithm that can be developed and improved on time throughout guest stay. So what really comes in AI-based energy management is um, it can do eco versus comfort modes, and when I say eco, just basically economy mode, right? Where let's say if it is summer and uh, you are inside the room, you are putting a room at say 20 degrees Celsius. That's your comfort temperature level, right? But when someone is not in the room, there's no reason to have AC running. You could switch it off, or you could put it at high temperature, let's say 26 degrees or 28 degrees, whatever. So even just doing this smaller adjustment based on guest behavior, past data, current data, it could save up to 20% or 35% in energy saving. And uh, as I mentioned earlier, energy cost are significant part of your hotel operating expenses. So this AI-based energy systems can adjust usage based on occupancy and reservation data. Right, and hotels using such systems report really substantial savings while maintaining guest comfort. So again, as I said, I cannot show like physical demo for this because it includes devices and all. But at high level, how this, again, we have this solution deployed at multiple properties. So I'll just pull how just energy related one works, right? So I just put this slide, just one example or illustration. Now this is winter illustration, and temperatures are in Fahrenheit. So just assume that this room 101, me as a guest have booked in the room. So on day one, I'm checking in at 3 p.m. Now, as I explained earlier, either from PMS, I already have that data that I'm going to check in at 3 p.m. So before check-in, I could put a room in comfort level based on my preference, right? I mean, AI already has that data, so I could put that in my preference. As I said, this is winter illustration, so this color shows as a room is heating at 72 degree, right? That's my preference. Now, when room is not occupied, it could put it in eco mode, and that eco mode is basically lowering the temperature so that your AC or PTAC unit doesn't keep heating, right? And that automatically saves you some dollars, or on revenue. So now next day I check out at 11 a.m. We know that even if there could be guests coming up in the same room, but there is always this time window, and mainly most of the properties follow the standard. Your standard check-in time is probably 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. and your checkout time is 11 a.m., right? So there has to be time in between for your cleaning staff or maintenance staff to clean the room, or if there is any issue. So after checkout, I mean, there's no reason that this room needs to be in comfort mode. So we could put it in economy mode, right, which is going to save energy. And again, let's say next day or same day you have guest coming in, then just before arrival, again, you could put it in comfort mode. So just with this simplistic example, right, day 1, 2, and 3, on day 1 I'm checking in, day 2 I'm checking out. day 2, after my checkout, there's no guest coming in that room. So day 3, that is next day, I have guests coming in. So based on all this data, we could save 26 hours of energy, and there is no impact to your guest experience or customer experience, right? Because as I said, in hospitality industry, like your guest is your main focus, right? That's where revenue is coming from. So you want to save on energy. At the same time, you don't want to cause any issues to your guest experience. So this will help, or this helps currently, right, with energy saving as well as no impact to guest experience. So that's what a smart room concept is, that being deployed. And obviously, when we started 5 years back, a lot of it was automation, right? But as we start gathering data, started onboarding this at multiple properties, now we have enough data that can be used to make these, some of these AI decisions, right? Okay, any questions here, guys? Anybody on the call? Otherwise, we'll keep going. Okay.
Any question from participants?
Okay. All right. So we'll keep going. So we talked a little bit about okay. So we talked about guest experience side of it. Now we'll get into a little bit on revenue side, right? Because end of the day, it's business, and a business owner needs to look at revenue side of it, right? So how this revenue management with AI can help. So and at high level, what does it involve, right? Revenue management mainly involves selling the right room at the right price at the right time, right? Because you in today's world, you cannot just have a fixed price, say $100 or $150, per day, right? It is based on demand, it is based on season, it's based on a lot of other things, like competitor prices. So that's where revenue management comes in picture, right? Where you have to provide, because there could be different room types as well, right? Single bed, double bed, or some rooms having, as I was saying, like smart devices, some without smart devices, right? So you have to make those decisions based on some of the information that is available, which can help you increase your revenue, right? And how AI can support in this. So AI supports this by forecasting your demand and then adjusting prices dynamically, because you have historical data, but based on that historical data or any events that are happening around your property, AI can help you forecast that demand, that tomorrow or day after tomorrow or weekend, or based on those behavioral patterns. It can forecast, like if there's going to be high demand in this area, and prices can be adjusted accordingly, right? And this improves revenue performance without relying solely on manual judgment, right? It's not then your general manager or front desk manager at the property is making some manual decisions or judgment based on what it was yesterday versus what it should be today. So that's where AI can help with revenue management. Okay. Now let's get into a little bit of IoT devices. So this how it can help in some of the maintenance side as well, right? So we talked about guest experience, we talked about revenue, third persona that most of the hotels have, or based on your property size, you could have maintenance staff full-time working for you, or it could be contractor that you may be calling as and when you need, right? So um, how AI can help in those cases, right? Or what are the use cases that we see in today's industry in these cases? And this goes a little bit on mechanical side or mechanical industry or production industry, right? Because or electronics, based on uh, what devices you are looking at. But it can give you predictive maintenance alerts, right? Which can help detect potential equipment failures early, right? Let's say your AC is not cooling down room quick enough because it's old or it is needing some maintenance. AI can churn that data, past data, current data, right, based on outside weather. What is equipment performing as expected, like performance, right? So and this can help hotels prevent breakdowns, right? So if you do predictive maintenance before it happens, right, it will basically prevent any breakdowns or reduce any downtime, and obviously improve safety as well, right? So it's not like middle of the guest stay, your AC stops working, right? Then you have to move that guest to different room or refund his money, right? There could be many scenarios. But if AI can alert you in advance that, hey, this room uh, should be blocked right now because probably it needs maintenance. And it's not about just room, right? As mentioned here, it could be even your elevator or your common area lobby, or you have swimming pool on the property or fitness center, right? It could be any of those common areas as well, um, that can be maintained well with this predictive maintenance. And this obviously also leads to cost savings and better guest satisfaction, right? Because you are not waiting for some equipment to go down. You are doing predictive maintenance or the maintenance well before it breaks down. So it does save money as well as improve guest satisfaction. Okay, we'll keep going. I think I'm going to skip this because we already saw energy optimization demonstration or example as how AI-based controls can be implemented and how that can lower cost and provide better comfort, right? So I'm going to not spend a lot of time on this slide. So now let's get into a little bit of behind the scene, like IT side of it or a system architecture, right? Um, so I know there are some short forms here or abbreviations used, so I'll talk about each one of that, right? So, and these are typical systems involved in hospitality. So PMS is your property management system, where actual booking is happening, and not just booking, but there are a lot of other things also happen, like sending out guest communication or accepting your payment, accepting your service request, all. And that's the reason it's called property management system, right? All these different functionalities that are needed um, uh, during guest stay or after guest stay, all those are maintained in PMS. And there are a lot of PMS companies that you may have heard. Different hotels could use different reservation systems. Then you have IoT. We talked a little bit about that. Those devices, it could be smart room, or it could be, I mean, smart lock, smart thermostat. In common areas, you may have some smart devices. and then your CRM data, right, which is customer relationship management, those systems. So how this slide basically explains how these different systems in a hotel work together to enable AI, right? Because hotels already use systems such as property management system, customer relationship, and then obviously there are various IoT devices. But then by themselves, like these systems mainly store data, make decisions based on the request, right? Now, artificial intelligence can act or acts as the central layer that connects all these systems, right? And it can analyze your incoming data, it can identify patterns, and then support those decisions or automated actions. For example, AI can use occupancy and booking data from your PMS to optimize energy usage or room pricing, right? So this architecture allows hotels to move from reactive operations, right, based on feedback, then acting upon it, like instead of reactive operations to more of intelligent and proactive management, right? So all data from your existing systems, these AI models and ML, NLP underlying, right? There are a lot of AI models that are coming up now. Those can use that data and help in some of the decisions and automation, and that in turn helps your improve your guest experience as well as staff experience. Obviously, it is important to take care of your staff as well so that they are not overloaded, right? So that's just like common system architecture that you may see. So we'll keep going. This slide compares what is cloud AI and edge AI in hospitality context, right? So cloud AI process data on your remote servers. Nowadays, I mean, obviously there are a few major players when it comes to cloud, right? Amazon, AWS, or cloud, Google Cloud or Oracle, Microsoft. There are many players. So that's what this cloud AI is, right? It processes data on these remote servers and mainly suitable for heavy analytics such as demand forecasting or trend analysis or guest behavior insights. That's part of your cloud AI versus edge AI is it operates closer to where data is generated, such as your smart devices, right? Within the hotel or inside those smart devices, this AI logic can be implemented there, where it enables you to provide you real-time responses, right? For example, instantly adjusting room temperature or lighting based on some actions that are happening inside the room. And then most modern hotels benefit from hybrid approach, right? Because some part can wait. For example, your service request, right? It can go as a service request. Someone can take action on that based on priority. So most modern hotels follow hybrid approach that combines cloud intelligence with edge level speed, right? So that's what about the differences. Now we'll talk about, I think we touched a little bit on it, but just giving a little more context on this, as AI is always data hungry, right? More data you provide, it's going to improve more. So your AI system entirely depends on data. And this data comes from multiple sources, including your property management systems, your booking engines. And when I say booking engine, those are your OTAs, right? Online travel agencies like booking.com, hotels.com, Expedia, lot of players in that area, right? So those are booking engines, or mobile apps that users are using, guest feedback systems, your IoT devices, right? So there are a lot of these data sources where AI systems can continuously gather data and make decision. And the effectiveness of this AI is really depends on this data quality and how you integrate that data, right? Because well structured and clean data allows AI to generate accurate predictions and meaningful recommendations. This makes data management very critical for hotels, not just for their manual or day-to-day operations, but for um, to improve on some of these things, right? To modernize your hotel systems. Okay. Now, let's talk about some of the challenges, right? So there are legacy systems. While AI offers many benefits, uh, its adoption is not without challenges, right? For example, let's say chatbot example or smart room, or you are even providing something on mobile app. But if your guest is not tech savvy, right, they're probably not going to use those features, right? So that's where adoption is critical. And as any other technologies, when it starts, obviously it starts with lower adoption. As everyone starts seeing more benefits, it gets adopted. Um, but currently, hotels often face issues related to their existing systems, right? Legacy systems, uh, poor data quality, or lack of trained staff, right? Because I mean, some hotels may be just writing in the book, or even if they have online system, but they are not, doing correct data entry, right? So it in turn, it's going to have, poor data, and um, that's the reason addressing these challenges requires planning and training, which is critical for success of AI implementation and adoption. Okay. Other challenge or critical part is guest consent, right? Because as we have been talking about data, there is uh, privacy part of it, right? Because all these AI systems rely heavily on guest data, which sometimes raises some ethical concerns, right? Like how you can use some of the personal data. So that's the reason hotel needs to ensure that data privacy and transparency and security, because data can be masked, it can be still used without really using, say, email or phone number or any other personal information, right? And responsible AI use is essential to maintain that guest trust. Okay. All right. So let's talk about future, right? As I said, like it has started picking up. You see some adoption. So some of this is what we have started seeing, where future of AI hospitality will involve deeper personalization and smarter automation, AI powered virtual front desk, emotion aware systems, right? Systems understand if guest is happy or angry or neutral, right? And there will be physical AI. When you say physical AI, mainly advanced robotics, right? Will start becoming more and more common, but at the same time, human element of hospitality that will never go away, and it will remain essential. Successful hotels will be those that use AI to support staff and enhance guest experiences rather than replacing any human interaction, right? So that's we see where future is going. So I kept this robotics part a little bit in. I know we have I guess 15-20 more minutes. So and some of the robotics part may have been covered, but I'll just quickly cover some of these slides, and then we can open up for any questions. If there are no questions, I'll address some of the common questions that we get, right? Um, so physically, as I said, like it really refers to intelligent machines operating in real world environments, and mainly in hospitality. Those can be robots that can be used for um, delivery or cleaning or front desk assistance, right? And these technologies really aim to improve efficiency rather than replacing human staff, right? So you'll see some of the service robots that are coming up in hotel industry are front office robots or delivery robots, right? Like it could be service request delivering your towels to the room or delivering actual food, and then it could be housekeeping, right? After guest checks out, cleaning the room and getting it ready for the next stop or next guest, sorry. All right, so again, going in a little bit more detail about back of house robotics could be kitchens and food preparation or handling inventory, right? Or laundry. I mean, there are so many um, back house activities that happens at the property that could use a lot of this physical AI or robotic side of it. Now, as I've been saying throughout the session, right, hospitality still needs human touch. So normally these robots in hotels are designed to work alongside humans. Uh, they robots can mainly handle repetitive or physical demanding tasks, right, allowing your staff to focus on more of personalization or human touch, empathy and personalization, like actual talking with the guest. And that basically allows staff to focus on guest interaction and service quality. So that's what the slides talk about, as to robot can augment your staff, not replace in all cases, right? Benefits of this is obviously 24/7 availability, uh, consistency and efficiency, and it could have high initial cost and some guest acceptance challenges, right? As I mentioned earlier, that's where those adoption challenges are, and slowly based on performance, obviously um, uh, those will improve. So I think I'll skip some of the slides based on the timing here. Let's see. So one case study, as I said, like this is started using. There's hotel in Japan called Hinana Hotel that has become very famous as the world's first robot staffed hotel. You can look up this on their website. You can see actual robots are being used for reception or concierge services or luggage handling. Um, However, over time, hotel did reduce number of robots because some tasks were better handled by humans. So that's where this teaches important lesson, right? Technology should support your hospitality operation. It should not complicate it, right? So that's where you have to see how these services are being used and improve on that. Other global case study is Marriott. They have been also using AI more selectively. uh, across its operations. They are mainly used for deliveries, while AI supports personalizations and loyalty programs. If you are going to different hotels under Marriott brand, you could get reward points and you could use that towards your next stay, right? So this balanced approach um, highlights effective human AI collaboration. Um, so with that, we are towards end of this. As I did want to keep some time for questions if there are any. But I mean that's really main content that I had to cover. So as we are um, coming close to end of this FDP session, we'll just I'd like to briefly reflect on what we discussed today, right? Um, so we started by understanding why the hospitality industry is uniquely suited for AI, because it's data rich, service intensive, and highly competitive. Um, we then explored how AI is already being used across the guest journey, right? From booking and check-in to in-stay experiences, energy management, revenue optimization, maintenance, right? We looked at all those use cases and just saw some glimpse of real world examples. Um, And then obviously an important takeaway is that AI should be seen as a enabler, not human replacement. Right? It really does not replace that uh, component of hospitality where it needs human touch. It basically supports, instead it supports staff um, by handling those repetitive or data-driven tasks. So humans can focus more on empathy, personalization, and service quality. Then we also discussed a little bit about physical AI and robotics, where machines operate in real hotel environments. And these technologies show a promise, but they also remind us that there is um, balance that is needed between human technology. That is very very critical. And from an academic and faculty perspective, this creates unique opportunity to update curriculum, introduce some practical case studies that we have seen, and prepare your students for technology augmented hospitality industry. Right. So that's what we covered, and that's all to summarize. So again, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity, and we'll open the floor for questions. We'll wait for a few minutes here. If there are no questions from audience, I do have some questions here like that are being used commonly. But let's first hear from audience if there are any questions.
From the audience, please, anyone?
Excuse me.
Yasmin, you have, yeah,
Yes.
Yasmin, go.
Good evening, sir.
Mhm.
Actually, I want to know more about AGI.
Mhm.
Could you please discuss more about that technology?
Sure, sure.
Thank
So, yeah, as I said, Age AI, when it comes to Age AI, right, Age AI use cases are where you need a quick response. So mainly, uh, just one example is on smart devices or robotics, right, where all decision making that needs to happen on the system itself. So you may have AI powered chips, like companies like Intel and Nvidia. They are coming up with these smart chips, right, where on device itself you have these electronics, PCBs or boards that can help to make those decisions faster, right? So that's what Age AI is, where it needs to handle smaller amount of data, it's local to the device. You can have hybrid approach, but specifically when it's Edge AI, it has to be all local on that device, and needs to make decision based on that. So um, I can provide more details offline as well. Yasmin, if you are interested more, you can send out email to me. I can give some good resources about studying more details in AGI.
Thank you so much, sir. I definitely want to know more about that. So please share your email ID. I'll contact you.
Yep. I'll share that with Rahul sir. And Rahul sir, I don't know if you have some way to get this to Yasmin or all faculties. I'm okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right, no worries. So we'll talk about some common questions, okay? Because I know a lot of these may have been addressed, but still we'll just quickly go through it, right? Because these are mostly questions that we get asked, right? One common question is whether AI is really meant for large hotel chains, like as I said, like of Marriott's or other ones, right? Um, so, I mean, in reality, AI adoption usually starts with large hotels, but today there are many AI tools that are cloud-based, right? Like, for example, chatbot. I mean, you really don't, as a hotel or as a business owner, you don't need really a lot of investment in that. It could be just subscription model. So you could even start, even small and mid-scale hotels can um, start to use the chatbots or energy management or analytics tools, right? So no, small hotels can also start using it. It's not about always about large hotel chains. Then frequent concerns where AI will replace jobs, right? And same question gets asked in hospitality as well. This is more human-centered industry where AI does replace repetitive tasks, but not all people. It could reduce your staff, but it's not going to entirely replace in some cases. And if it is smaller property where you are able to get to the perfection based on repetitive tasks, you could have staff-less front desk, but you're still going to need staff for a lot of other things, right? Where some guest still needs interaction. Apart from that, is AI difficult to teach? This is again common questions from faculty perspective. It's not often or doesn't need to be taught always as a technical subject, right? It can be introduced through some case studies or operational examples, mainly focusing on decision making. And students can uh, help technology side, using a lot of AI and resources that are being available. But main idea behind is like just explaining those technical concepts with real-time examples. What about data privacy and ethics? Those are critical issues, and obviously hotel must protect guest data, ensure transparency, and maintain that trust. Right? This is also a very important area for academic discussion that you should use. And finally, on robots, is it practical to use, right? Because again, we have just started seeing it, and these are currently used really in just premium properties, very minimal, where it can support delivery, cleaning, and efficiency, while your human warmth remains central to hospitality. So those are again just some common questions that we get that I wanted to address. So that's pretty much what I had for today. Again, thank you for this opportunity. I hope this helps in your day-to-day academics. And as I said, I'm open to collaborate offline. I'll share all my information with Rahul sir. So if you need any help, if you are coming up with specific academic course, if you need help reviewing that, adding any real world examples, I'll be always available to do that. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, Jenny, go ahead.
If time allows, I would like to ask one question, sir.
Sure.
Sir, somewhere in your slide you mentioned about predictive maintenance in the HVAC applications, right?
Mhm.
Though we discussed these things in the class with students, but still it is not possible to visit any such facility here.
Right.
So if
Yeah.
you can share some experience of yours, like difficulties or how to gather actually data to train. IoT is understood, but how other kind of varieties are available to take input data? If you can
Okay.
highlight that topic. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good point. Yeah, because not everything can be produced in lab, right? So the HVAC is a really good example, right? Because it's larger systems, right? So there could be a couple of ways. I mean, I'm pretty sure as part of your academic there could be some industry visits, right? And so larger companies like us, right, they could have some labs made for like just with this HVAC where it is continuously gathering the data, or it has real world examples that can be showed. But it's challenge, and I can see like if I can gather some additional information, mainly in India market, right? How you can get to some of the real world data and examples. But yeah, that's all about I can say at this point. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay. Thanks, Jay. All right. Back to you, Rahul. Anything else need
Thank
to
you, sir.
cover?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. I'm going to stop
Okay.
presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Any question from the participant?
All right. Thank you all for your time. We
Thank you,
will
sir.
wrap. You have a nice day.
Thank you very much, sir, for
Thank you, sir,
presenting
for
the
such an
application
informative
of
session.
AI.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for the nice session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Please participate. Please participate for 1 minute. So thank you very much, Nitin sir, for elaborating the application of AI in hospital industry, like AI chatbot and virtual assistant, and mainly shown how Dwarpal assistant assists to the guest from AI. Very impressively, sir. Thank you very much for accepting our request and taking your time to us. And I conclude that this session is very innovatively and knowledgeable for our participants. And very best wishes for Dwarpal Incorporation for getting a great success.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right, guys.
So, okay. So just a few minutes for taking a screenshots.
Sure.
So everyone, please on your videos.
Sir, I can't start my video because it's disabled by host. Can you do something, please?
Yes, even I cannot open my camera.
Sir, can you do, please?
Okay,
It's
ma'am.
disabled by host.
Okay, ma'am.
Even my camera is disabled by your side, sir.
Okay. 1 second.
Thank you, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. So now,
Yes, sir.
thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nitin sir, all the participants. All of you, close your cameras, please.
All right. Thank you. I'm going to drop.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. So now, next session, starting now. So today's session, day 4, session 8. So today's guest, Sudhanshu sir, also connected with us. So now 1 second, sir. Welcome, Sudhanshu sir. Hello, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, I can hear you, Rahul, sir.
So good
Can you hear me
morning.
okay?
Okay, good morning, sir.
Good evening, good evening.
Okay, so now, so we start up a next session, day 4, session 8, topic AI for sustainable engineering. So here for this session, expert is Sudhanshu Patki sir, consulting director, Oracle Corporation, founder of Dwarpal Incorporation in USA. He born in Solapur, Maharashtra. He did engineering in electronics and telecommunication from VIT Pune. And he started his career at Cognizant Pune as a developer, then moved to the USA in 2008 through the Cognizant. He was eventually managing the multi-millionaire portfolio with 100 plus people globally located. He was service leadership roles in banking and healthcare verticals. He joined Oracle under their financial services business unit, deliver major transformational projects across Fortune 500 healthcare companies. He joined an Oracle spin-off startup called RIA Advisory Services. He led their healthcare verticals as a senior director, then started his own venture, Dwarpal Incorporation, to elevate economy hotels using IoT-based technology. We are confident that today's session will be enriching for all the participants. I warmly welcome Sudhanshu sir. Request him to begin the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Rahul, sir, for having us. And it's incredible to see the level of interest that everybody has in the topic of AI. It's really a buzzword that people are using everywhere. So I'm excited to see 500 some people in attendance. So I'll start sharing here shortly, but again, just keep in mind some guidelines for the session today. Please, don't feel hesitated that I'm going through some material and this has to finish. So please feel free to stop me. I know there are a lot of people here, so it might become chaotic, but let's see how it goes. Okay, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat window. And Rahul sir, I will request if you can keep an eye on the chat window as well. Okay, just let me know if there are questions coming through. We can take periodic pauses. It is a 90-minute session, so it's a rather long session. So better that we keep it interactive. I want to make sure this is not just a session which is one way flow of information. Please make sure like you're able to understand the concepts. If you feel enabled about okay how we translate this to the students down the line, so it's important that we just keep it interactive and keep it very informal, easy between us. Okay. And thank you so much for the wonderful introduction also, Rahul sir. I think great stage setting. So if you can enable my screen sharing, please, Rahul sir.
Yes, sir. Already is it.
Let me try again. multiple present.
1 second, sir.
Okay, now it is working. Yeah, now we are good. Okay,
Yes,
so
1 minute, sir. 1 minute, sir.
okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, you can see my screen, right? Can somebody?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, so topic for today, AI, we're going to briefly talk about GPT, and then the primary agenda for today's conversation is going to be sustainability, right? Sustainability is a very heavily loaded word. Okay, and again, we are so bogged down by our day-to-day, say, jobs, right? Whatever we are trying to do in our hands. Sustainability is a topic that we, as all of us as individuals, often forget. Talking about climate change, talking about energy conservation, right? How do we become more efficient in utilizing the resources that we have? It is not just about electricity, but in general resources. So we'll talk about what companies are doing in this space as well, right? They call it ESG as the corporate initiative. So we'll talk about what that means. And now the topic of AI, as it is reaching every corner of every industry, sustainability is not left behind either. So we'll have that as our topic as well as we go through the material today. Okay, so that will be our overall idea on how AI is at the intersection of, say, GPT sustainability, and how does that translate into what we are educating our kids on, right? Because there is opportunities down the line in this field. How do we deploy AI in the field of sustainability, carbon emission reduction, what we do in Dwarpal for energy management, right? But we are in a small bubble. We operate in hospitality space, but think broader, right? So this is where governments and big corporations are collaborating on sustainability. There is tremendous opportunity, tremendous, because people will find great careers in this. Okay, we look at AI with the lens that, hey, AI is coming and replacing all the jobs. Okay, but that is mostly not going to happen, right? People thought about the same thing when computers were invented back then, right? People used to do typing, right? So the typing jobs slowly eroded and went away, right? Similarly, some of the jobs will change in nature, some new jobs will be created, and a lot of new opportunity will be seen in market, right? So I think we have to embrace AI. And again, that it is definitely have an intersection in sustainability. We need to make sure our kids are ready, and as we are designing the curriculum in our schools and colleges, how we educate them. Okay, the black box of AI, we need to open it for them, help them understand exactly how they can learn this, right? With, in certain cases, we may not have all the resources in terms of knowledge artifacts, right? The right books, the right, say, Udemy style of courses available in our schooling systems. But we as educators can be at the center point, be able to learn it ourselves, and then be able to translate that information, cascade it down to our students. So eventually they do see opportunity when they are graduating out of the colleges, right? So again, opportunity is immense in this field as well. So I know, I think you have been going through AI related sessions, so you may have already seen this, but I just wanted to open the conversation today with information related to, in general, GPT, right? Like, so feel free to again stop me here if you think some of the things don't make sense, if you have follow-up questions on this, right? So GPT, as it says, right, generational, pre-trained, and the last word is transformer. Okay, so generational in a sense that it can create content. Okay, most of us, I hope, have used some form of, say, Chat GPT or Gemini or Grok from Tesla, right? Some of the popular GPT platforms we may have used in whatever day-to-day activities that we are doing in our professional career. So the nature of this engine is generational, right? So it can create content, it can create text, it can create video scripts. In some cases, it can actually create the final videos, images, right? So it is generational in nature. Now, pre-trained, it is pre-trained, and then this is something that Google came up with. Okay, the original concept of training the models. So this is, as they call it, the machine learning aspect of it. Okay, the machine learning. Yes. Sorry, okay, so there is somebody joining. Okay, so pre-trained in a sense that, okay, so the machines are learning the data that is available to them, right? So people talk about, hey, I have this agent, this AI agent, that AI agent, right? So the meaning of that agent is, consider these agents are, let's say, students who are reading certain category of books. Okay, so there is a very popular video editing and, or like the image editing tool called Canva, right? Canva, Canva, right? So when Canva says, I have my own creative agent available for everybody in the world to use, what that really does is they have trained a standard, say, LLM, large language model, okay, on the concepts of video creation, concepts of image creation. It's almost like they had this 12th pass GPT engine, LLM engine from, say, Chat GPT or Gemini or whoever it is. They took that, say, basic engine, then they imported all the data for image creation, video creation, concepts of creativity, color combinations, design patterns, right? How to be minimalistic. So they trained this basic engine on these concepts at a much deeper level. Okay, now what happened is your 12th pass GPT, like the basic GPT, is now trained on image style of work. Okay, so that is why pre-training is important, so that this particular agent and this particular, say, platform that, say, in this case Canva created, knows one specific domain pretty much at a detailed level where they can make a difference. Okay, if you ask ChatGPT to create an image versus you ask Canva to create an image, there is a stark difference. Okay, so you will see that Canva is able to do a much better job, okay, at these things because it is pre-trained. Okay, in Dwarpal also, what we do is we train our models on how buildings can conserve energy. Okay, how the air conditioning systems can be more optimized. Okay, so when our hoteliers ask question to our voice agent that, hey, Dwarpal, can you tell me what's going on in my hotel? How many rooms are being conditioned, air conditioned unnecessarily? Now it knows what does unnecessary even mean. And it needs to understand that because it has so much data that we have trained it on to figure out what room shouldn't be conditioned and still being conditioned. So that training is important, right? The last is transformer, right? So transformer is where it is able to relate objects and be able to converse with you, okay, in an exchange form, and be able to transform information understanding the context. Okay, so when you start having a chat with them on sustainability, it knows that, okay, as you ask some questions, give it some prompts, it slowly understands the conversation is about sustainability. So all the future conversation that it is having in that particular context, it knows that that is the topic of discussion today, right? So understanding that context, okay, be able to relate objects. So you may talk about, say, solar conservation as a sustainability topic and suddenly switch the topic into corporate ESG. It understands you are now talking about companies, you're now talking about solar, you're now talking about agriculture, right? Then it can relate all of this on the context of, say, sustainability and be able to transform this experience into a final output that you are trying to get out of it. The final output could be a white paper. The final output could be an article in a local newspaper, so that there is a context of that city also added to the mix, right? So such type of things are the transformative capability of GPT. Okay, so under that you have language models, right? Like mainly language models is the backbone, right? It has large language model, as we call small language model. So there are concepts available based on what is called as LLM or SLM, right? LLM is essentially, imagine that it's like a PhD kind of a person, right? Okay, they understand large contexts, right? They understand large amount of data, and they can give you broad answers. Okay, they have access to world of information. That's what is called large language models. Small language models is where, okay, you take it down, and let's say Dwarpal, right? Dwarpal, we only work in a small bubble of say energy management in hospitality for economy hotels. So now I'm in a very smaller model world. So that's called small language model. So when you ask questions to the SLM, it tries to answer very specific to the topic that the SLM talks about and it understands, it is trained on. But the moment it sees that I'm not able to answer this question, okay, in this small context of my bubble, it will go and refer to the large language model, which is the PhD guy sitting in the back, which is your chat GPT, and it will try to get information from that LLM. Okay. Good example is really the chatbot. Okay, so all of us have used, say, some kind of a chatbot, and you go on a website and start chatting with the, say, the railway systems in India, IRCTC websites, or any other bigger websites. Let's say we are going on Reliance for some support for our phone services, right? All these are chatbot examples. It was not very conversational in nature because the GPT was not behind these chats so far. But now, in the last year or so, as the world is catching up on AI, you will see chatbots have become very mature, right? Chatbots can now actually talk to you. Okay, if you have a voice-based chatbot, it is very difficult to recognize a human versus a non-human on the other side of the phone line, right? Because it is so conversational in nature, it has so much access to data that it is very difficult to figure out the differences. Right? Then we talked about jobs changing, jobs going away. Okay, so writing and this content writing, these type of jobs will change in nature. Okay, because the basic nature of the writing, okay, that we used to do, okay, we used to spend so much time. Let's say if somebody asks us to create a white paper on, say, Shivaji Maharaj, for example, right? It would take us probably a week or 2 weeks to create that entire write-up. Okay, but imagine you have PDF versions of Shivaji Maharaj books, right? If you have, say, public articles already available, some Wikipedia websites, you can put it in a chat GPT window. It will already give you 80% ready material. Then you add the human touch on top of it. Okay, so as you can see, writing assistance is a primary use case for GPT models. And now, as companies are understanding the true power behind GPT, they are taking it into robotics, what Nitin was talking about on hospitality. Okay, how do we do energy management? Today's topic for sustainability, right? So it is going well beyond that. But writing assistance is the most common use case for AI GPT. Yeah. So in this case, I think what we see in the US education systems also, and I'm sure I think some of the schooling systems in India also have probably started using, okay, AI in the world of education, where we take a look at the material that is written by kids. How do we quickly assess those, right, and get some feedback? It could be grammar related feedback, and it doesn't have to be in English, right? Okay, AI, a lot of AI engines, such as the Google's Gemini, is multilingual, right? It understands multiple languages because Google has been learning languages for probably 20-30 years now, right? They are going through their translation mechanism, so they already have access to language translation. So they're able to read content in different languages, and we as educators could use this material. We can be able to provide meaningful feedback to our students, okay, and it saves our time as educators. So in not just writing, but even assessment can be improved, right? We talked about that. Then translation. So we use, like, for our company, we use a lot of, say, overseas companies from, say, Switzerland. We have some vendors there. We have vendors in China, right? Okay, those platforms, now we are able to very easily converse with them, because as you're typing content, it automatically starts translating based on the context that it knows. It knows that this person is logging in from Switzerland, this person is logging in from, say, Beijing in China. It is able to even take that data, and real time it is able to translate, so the conversation is not interrupted, right? Now people are coming up with AI enabled glasses, right? Like just spectacles, right? So you can use these specs to have voice translation in your ear. Okay, using the bone conduction mechanism on your glasses, you could actually have real time translation done, okay, as you're talking to a foreign person. Imagine the power of that, right? It is still in, I would say, demo stage, so to say, but those glasses image recognition, not just creating images, the GPT can even recognize images. And the reason that I'm going through this is eventually this will all of this information feeds into how sustainability now plays a part, right? So image recognition, not just creating images, you can actually upload images and tell the GPT, hey, read, understand this image and create a write-up on this, for example, right? It might be a scene. In our context, we upload presentations, we upload images, we upload us to get some context on what is going on. So it can recognize images, it can recognize content, be able to interpret the content, and then as a subsequent step, it can also create a feedback for you. It can create summary for you, and eventually that summarized content you can ask follow-up questions and actually get to the task that you're trying to do on the original image, right? So it is very powerful in recognizing content as well, not just creating it. Okay, now if you look at it, how this evolved, right? All the way like back in 56, we just got independent in 47. Back then itself, the concept of AI was introduced. We think that AI just came through in like last 3-4 years, but the foundations were laid literally in the last century, right? In the what they call it is Dartmouth conference, it became a big news that okay, there is something called AI that is coming, and then smaller versions of chatbots started coming, very basic in nature. Okay, if else conditions in what we call it as programming, it is able to slowly start talking or as a chatbot concept, right? But then computer systems evolved in the 70s, right? We started getting expert systems, and then evolved to a point around Y2K, which is the year 2000, when the computer industry saw a big boom. That is where IBM created what is called as a deep blue computer. Okay, that literally defeated Kasparov on a chess match. Right? He was number one at the time, right? Gary Kasparov. So imagine a computer beating a chess champion. That became a big news also. So computers can go beyond our capabilities. Now, if you see, okay, this is so real, right? When you talk to a GPT, there is no way we as humans can suddenly access these billions and billions of bytes of data available and be able to immediately provide a response, immediately provide a content output, right? So again, back then it became a big news, right? Then machine learning, deep learning techniques came in 2006. Okay, image recognition became a big deal. Okay, I'm an electronics engineer, so I think I remember studying the digital signal processing, DSP, as we used to call it. I'm not sure how many of you guys on the call are from electronics background, but DSP was a big deal. I graduated in 2003. Okay, but then the actual breakthroughs came somewhere around 2012 on how do you recognize, pixelate the images, how do you able to interpret it. Okay, that laid the foundation for what we see today, right? Then slowly we started seeing AI, we started seeing the world of Alexas and all of those later in 2014 and onwards, right? Then transformer model, this is something Google came up with in 2017. Okay, the last part of what we saw in GPT, right? Understanding context, understanding entity one versus entity two. I gave you an example of, say, AI for companies versus AI for agriculture, right? For sustainability. So it started understanding this context and be able to transform it together. Okay, that concept actually came through in 2017, and Google came up with that concept, right? Now, then NLP tasks were started having the natural language processing, right? NLP stands for natural language processing. What that really means is you can type plain English. You don't need to know coding, right? Not a lot of us know actual, say, Java coding, C coding, right? And we don't have to know that, right? Everybody has their own skill set, and we should be able to maximize the efficiency of our own skill sets, right? So in this case, if you see, the natural language processing became a big deal, right? Where people are able to talk in plain English with the computer systems. People are able to type it in plain English and still be able to get meaningful responses. So slowly NLP became one of the foundations for what AI is today, right? And 2019 is when we saw GPT number 2, right? It is able to generate text based on all these foundational elements, the transformer element, the NLP element, the plain and simple AI element that we talked about in 2014, right, back there. So the first model GPT-2 came out, then started maturing. GPT-3 came through, and then it became big news, right? And then we started seeing the broader adoption in 2021. Okay. So if you see AI versus not AI, right? Like if you see AI characteristic, it acts like a human, right? How our brain is structured, we process a lot of data simultaneously. Right? As I'm talking to you, I already know there is a window here, right? There is light coming through this. I know a lot of things. I have awareness, right? As a human, right? Because our brain can process so many things in conjunction and be able to process it and provide output. Okay, so that is important characteristic of an AI, that it can consume information in parallel, okay, understand the context and provide output. Traditional software is you provide a stream of input data, then it goes through, say, if else loops, right? This is shown as an electronic circuit, right? It goes through computing systems and then the programs that are written under the computers, like if this happens do this, if that happens do this, run a loop for 10 times and provide me output. Okay, so it is very programmatic in nature. Okay, it is not really, say, human brain like intelligence. So that is where the AI changed the process, right? And it is able to learn, right? We talked about the pre-trained aspect of GPT, right? So it can learn itself. Okay, it can mature itself. That is why as time goes by, as we feed information, as we start talking to these AI engines, it will become more and more powerful, right? Because it is learning through this process. Yeah. Any questions so far before we talk about some of the differences in automation? Anybody?
No,
Okay.
sir.
All right. Good. All right. So automation and AI, right? Like again, automation could use AI, but automation is not necessarily AI. Automation is again like you have some repeating tasks, we do automate, but then when human intelligence comes through, we add the next layer to it for the artificial intelligence. Okay. So now if we take a look at, say, sustainability as a topic now, right? AI and sustainability. Okay, so think from a perspective of energy management. Okay, think from a perspective of emissions created by buildings, emissions created by factories, and of course cars also. And then you could have some disaster happening. Then how do we respond to those disasters also? Okay, it touches every aspect within that, right? Now, if you think, say, energy management. Okay, the windmill is shown as an example here. We have the, say, solar panels. We do solar energy. In India also, I think solar has caught up pretty big time as well, right? So if you think from that perspective, that technology already exists, correct? Emission tracking, we have the PUC certificate, right? In India, we get the PUC certificate on our vehicles. We already know how to track emissions, right? We already know how to read it, okay? We already respond to the disasters. Now, what AI does here is bring the power of GPT, right, to the context of energy management. Okay, imagine, say, a windmill running. Okay, now what happens is you are generating electricity out of, say, a windmill in Rajasthan, or so let's say a big solar plant somewhere where we have, higher temperatures in the central part of India, right? Okay, in such cases, what AI can do is it can read the amount of output it is creating in terms of the megawatts of electricity that a particular windmill is creating. Okay, and what it can now do is it can figure out, okay, hey, I'm generating so much energy at my windmill, okay, here in a very windy area, so it is located correctly. Now it'll start reading that. Okay, what it will then do is it will compare the amount of electricity created out of this windmill against industry standards that are available throughout the globe. Okay, it already has data for windmills in, say, Sweden, windmills in the US, right? Okay, so place where we belong, we do see a lot of windmills here as well, right, in the US, because of we being in the Midwest part of the US. Wind is conducive to generate electricity, so we see these lot of windmills. So if you think from that perspective, it will compare the data that is already available in public domain on windmills. Okay, so it will know per say windmill station how much electricity is US creating, how much electricity say other geographies are creating. Then it will say, okay, looks like US is doing better than us. Okay, now the next topic becomes the AI is going through all this data on its own, right? Once we find out how do we send the data that we are already measuring, okay, because we already measure how much megawatts of electricity my windmill is creating. So we already are measuring in our existing implementation also. So I take that information, okay, then I feed it to my engine now, right? That is the new part. Okay, we need to be able to capture that data and be able to send it to our AI engine. Nitin briefly talked about the edge AI, right? So edge is nothing but all these devices, the Internet of Things kind of devices, the sensors, right? The readers, the microcontrollers, those devices that are placed in all these implementations, okay? Being able to add AI to that layer, okay, is essentially the edge AI topic, right? So imagine these sensors that are already available there, they are able to feed data back into an AI engine, okay, because they are enabled, the code now has capabilities to send it back to the AI engine. That AI engine will compare to other metrics that is available globally, and then it will compare and contrast. Okay, what are we doing better? Okay, the megawatts of electricity created, say per minute, per day, as against the industry benchmarks that are available, it can compare. Then it can provide not just output as a report, right, saying okay, hey, we are doing bad, for example, right, or we are 10% less efficient in what we are doing. It might just tell you to begin with, because it is plain and simple data comparison, right? But that is not technically AI. That is just computer program to compare data and give you output. What AI will do next is it will try to also get data from the wind sensors. Okay, what is the wind direction? Okay, how much is the wind intensity? Right, how many kilometers per hour of wind that we see in this part of the geography? How, what is our angles of the windmill? Right, it will start analyzing those patterns. It will go and read the research papers done by environmental scientists in the world, and it will say windmills will have efficiency related impact, okay, if the wind direction versus the fan and the motor direction on the windmill are not aligned to so and so angles, right? It will start giving you better intel now to the engineers on the ground for this power plant. That is where AI will come and add a difference. Okay, so if you see the when I talked about new jobs being created, right? Imagine a windmill, okay, say in Rajasthan in my example, government says, okay, guys, I want to see why this is not generating enough megawatts of electricity. When our delegation that went to the US, they said they are able to do it with 20% less windmills, but they are generating more than us in terms of the output. Okay, now government is creating that kind of a project. So people who will work on these projects, those are absolutely new jobs, right? When you talk about the opportunity in this space, imagine the opportunity this creates to design the technology, design these additional sensors that are AI capable, right? They can read data, push it back into an engine and get it back for some decision making, right? So you have new jobs there. You have now environmental engineers, okay, who already know how this windmill works, but these people now understand how to read the data that is created by these AI based edge IoT sensors, how to interpret that output data, okay, and then suggest engineering level changes on how do you adjust the rotation of the windmills, right? So those are the type of new opportunities that AI is going to create, okay, because the world is going to be more efficient in every task that we do. Okay, so you will see better throughput through electricity. Eventually, that will translate down to better availability of electricity throughout developing countries like us, right? India, right? Okay, so that will create more opportunities as well. So this is a cascading effect. Okay, just I'm giving you an example as a windmill, but this can happen in a say solar environment, anything related to say energy management, right? Then we talk about emission tracking. We all of us are seeing problems in New Delhi, right? New Delhi with the one second, yeah, so with the pollution creating foggy atmosphere. Unfortunately, somebody had an accident because of the foggy atmosphere a couple of days ago, right? So think from that perspective. Slowly, you will have effort being taken consciously to understand the pollutants. Then, okay, currently there's a lot of ball passing in this example. Let's say how this is happening and all that. Science will help decode this. Okay, and science in terms of AI, it'll be able to understand the pollutants that are in the air for a given geography. It can interpret those pollutants. It can track the source of those pollutants and be able to meaningfully consult and suggest alternative mechanisms on how to avoid this, right? So emission tracking, not just, I'm just giving you a very popular example, but think from a factory perspective, right? A chemical factory generating pollutants are not necessarily always air pollutants, right? You might be contaminating water, right? Like the chemical plant releasing some chemicals in the water, like we saw some toxic water problem in Madhya Pradesh, right? Okay, so if you think from that perspective, being able to read, okay, the um, data available at an air level, at a water level, being able to interpret that data for pollutants, right? Being able to identify the source of those pollutants, be able to suggest improvements. Okay, that is where AI can bring tremendous speed, okay, and be able to make dramatic changes and bring the experience to a better level, right? Disaster response, you may have, say, a nature outbreak happening in our part of some of the part here in South America. We have volcano related problems, you may have flooding related problems, okay, man-made war related problems, right? How do you respond to disasters, either man-made or nature-made disasters, right? In those cases, AI can be very handy as well, because the speed of response, okay, the amount of information available, the amount of damage that is done on the ground, the right response to be selected, and be able to consult the rapid action forces that will be deployed, right? You can equip them with the right tools and the technology, so that the response is measured, quick, and very effective, right? So in all these aspects, AI is going to be, a difference maker in this context. Yeah. Now, if you see data analysis and predictions, we talked about AI being able to read data and understand insights, right? Because the primary thing in our part of the world that we talk about, right? Data is available everywhere. Okay, but what's the use of data if you are just reading it and not able to provide what we call it as insights? Okay, how do we look at, say, the IPL data, right? For example, when you're looking the IPL matches, right? It says when Surya Kumar Yadav plays or makes, say, more than 15 runs, right? Mumbai Indian wins the match, say, 75% of the times, right? This is an insight, right? Data is always available. We always know Surya Kumar Yadav is playing, he's making so and so runs, Mumbai Indian wins, loses. Now, able to understand that when Surya Kumar makes X number of runs, okay, then Mumbai Indian wins 75% of the times, is the insight, right? So being able to take the data and providing that insight, and now also being able to predict the output. Okay, then it might say, hey, the match that is going on right now, okay, based on not just Surya Kumar Yadav, because he's not the only guy playing, right? So there are so many things happening. What is the current, say, run rate? What's going on? It will have a win predictor, right? If you see at the bottom, it says, say, Mumbai Indian versus Rajasthan Royals. Okay, Rajasthan Royal has a better winning percentage, right? How is it able to do that? Is because it is able to read the data, okay, apply intelligence to it, apply trending from past experiences, and it is able to predict. Okay, so it's very important that we understand the use of AI for understanding insights and be able to predict it also. Okay, so as we are talking to, say, our kids in our classes, as you are going through, say, your own learnings also as educational professionals, I would highly encourage, understand, okay, how different type of technology is available, okay, on interpreting data, Okay, see if our students can also understand those type of technologies, because data is the new oil, right? As people say, right? I think Mukesh Ambani had once said that as well when he was launching Geo as the company. He said, "Hey, so done the real oil now, but the data is the new oil," right? And he was not wrong, correct? So I think data available everywhere. Okay, how do we monetize that data? Right? When you open Facebook, right, and then Facebook is telling you, showing you an advertisement for a sari, right? A sari versus, say, an iPhone. How does it know who to show a sari advertisement versus who to show an iPhone advertisement, right? So that is understanding the data, the behavioral pattern of that individual, and be able to create that into an insight. Okay, and then also provide that targeted information to the respective audience, right? So it's very important that we as educators understand the power of data. Okay, and in whatever courses that we design or courses that are already available, okay, we try to figure out that this insights on data is part of the curriculum as well, right? Okay. And of course, what AI does is it brings the accuracy and efficiency in data processing. I gave you an example of the windmill, right? Okay, my windmill is performing bad by 10%. That was a problem given to me. Okay, and then when we are trying to solve the amount of data that is available, right? Let's say I talked about a white paper available, say somewhere in Europe, that talks about efficiencies of windmills. Then I have data from the US related implementation that is doing better than us, right? And then being able to not just, let's say, read data and provide insight. Are you able to do it accurately? Are you able to do it efficiently? What if you take just 1 year to figure out all this data, put it into computer systems, you hire 3 software engineers to create dashboards and all the fanciness? Okay, you lost 1 year, so you're not being efficient. And only to know that the engineers messed up in step number 3 of the 100-step process. Now you go all the way back and redo it again because it was not accurate, right? So what AI does is it takes away this human accuracy aspect out of the equation, right? It is able to read this data in a fashion because it is pre-trained, right? Remember that it is pre-trained on how to read this data. And unlike us, right, it is driven by the computer systems also, so it is inherently accurate, right? It is automatically accurate because it is done through programs and the neural networks behind the scene, right? So that is why the power of AI in data insights and be able to accurately predict the output is going to be phenomenal, okay, when this becomes mainstream. Okay. All right, so we talked about energy management. Now look at buildings, right? So this is where I think our company, Dwarpal, I think we operate. But again, like it's nothing. This session is not about our company as such, right? But look at a building. Okay, there are so many things happening in a given building, right? If you see a building has, say, maybe in this case it is showing a solar plant, right? Okay, so how do we optimize the solar plant? There are lights here, there is air conditioning happening, there is a parking lot, there are people walking, there is water used to plant the green lawns here, right? You are using energy to run this building. Okay, but are you optimized enough? Are your windows sealed correctly? Okay, all the way, imagine from windows, right? Like such a small thing as a window, and then there is a small gap at one corner of the window. It is getting hot air inside the building, and you have an air conditioner running there. Okay, the air conditioner is going to run like longer than it needs to be, right? Because you have a leakage in your window, air leakage in your windows, right? But how do you detect all these things, right? Currently, unless somebody like an environment engineer does an audit on this building, you would not know that this is happening, correct? So now imagine, let's say, AI introduced here. AI will figure out, okay, hey, in such kind of a building with, say, 2000 square feet in a given location, if I run air conditioning for, say, 4 hours, typically I don't have to run it for next 6 hours. But this building is running air conditioning for 15 hours. Why is that so? Okay, then it will start recommending potential measures. Okay, it will tell you, hey, go and check the air conditioner, say, refrigerant liquid, right? It will tell you to go and check, say, leakage on in the windows, right? Like that was the true problem in this case, right? it will start giving you suggestions because it knows the common causes why your building is consuming more conditioning hours as against typical buildings of this size, right? So the power of the engine, okay, will start giving you pointed directions on how do we solve these things. Okay, so energy management for a building from that perspective, what we do is, let's say there is nobody in the room, right? You have an occupancy sensor. Okay, I think Nitin probably already talked about it. So based on the occupancy sensing, we can just say if there is nobody in the room, start dropping the temperature, right? So the next could be you are in your home, right? Every morning you get up and go to your, say, university, your school, your office, somewhere, right? Okay, it knows that a person who is leaving the room has a smartphone in their pocket. They are the owner of this home, and there is nobody else after, say, 8 o'clock. If everybody who has like this kind of smartphone understood to be the household, they leave the home. It means they are leaving with their phone, and then you don't see that in their location tracking anymore. Why that lights are turned on? Why is the fan running, right, in the ceiling? It will start automatically creating what we call it as smart scenes and be able to optimize the usage on that energy. Okay, water conservation, efficiency of the solar panels on the top, very similar to the windmill example, right? AI can come in very handy, okay, in all these aspects, because it can quickly understand the issue that this building is probably creating, and it can actually suggest recommendations and improvements, right? So this is where AI can play a big role in energy management for buildings. Okay, what we do in our case also is, okay, we can actually predict if the air conditioner has a problem. Okay, so what we say is, okay, hey, you are trying to cool the room, right? You have put it on air conditioning, okay, and we see that after, say, 2 hours, the temperature is actually increasing in the room. Okay, so in our cloud system, we see that, hey, this particular room is actually trying to cool the room, but it is going the other way. So our AI systems will figure out, okay, oh, looks like this is going in the reverse direction. So the air conditioning system or the thermostat system, one of them have a problem, that the configuration is not correct. And it will also determine what are the 2 3 changes that it can probably do to make this the right way. And it will automatically make those changes, attempt it again, monitor it again, everything automatically. Humans are not even engaged in this, right? And it will try again. Okay, if it recovers from the situation, nobody knows about it. The intelligence took care of the scenario and the problem by itself, for that building, for that room, right? You did not have to do anything because the technology took care of itself, right? So imagine this, say, programmatical intelligence and artificial intelligence that is able to manage these buildings in a more effective way in this case, right? Okay. So emissions tracking, we talked about, let's say, emissions created by all factories. We talked about the pollutant. We talked about, say, carbon related footprint, right? All of it we discussed in the emission side of it, right? So we should be able to monitor the emissions in a better way. A factory, let's say, a Reliance oil factory is given a target to reduce their emissions by, say, 7%, right, year on year, for example, right? They will add the emission tracking. They will have sensors on their on all their, say, plant related equipment that is actually creating the emission, be able to understand what could be increasing their emission levels, what are the areas of optimization. Similar factories worldwide, what are they doing? Okay, what do we have a problem in one of the chemicals that we are using for our oil purification? Is that causing the contamination? Is it increasing our carbon footprint? Okay, while we are trying to refine the oil, right? Okay, so in such cases, it could read that data, it could compare the benchmarks, and it can just say, hey, this chemical is known to be causing more carbon emission in oil plants. Okay, here is a research paper created by, the peer reviewed research paper created out of, say, whatever premium universities in the US or wherever it is, right? Or an IIT research paper coming out of Mumbai that already has a study done on this. Use these mechanisms instead of this chemical, please use this chemical. Then they will slowly transition into that in a 1 year period and be able to now say, okay, I'm actually compliant with the 7% reduction on my emissions. So imagine this power of information and the AI. Big companies are also deploying the underlying neural networks of AI, okay, to get efficiency done in whatever their say emission tracking targets are, right? It is not just about our smaller buildings in this case. It is actually far reaching to industrial implementations as well, right? Then we look at the smart grids. The smart grids is really your power distribution, right? So we have a power plant located outside the cities somewhere in a location where maybe we are doing the generation through traditional coal based electricity. It could be water based electricity, it could be wind based, solar, whatever the mechanism. Okay, the electricity is generated maybe hundreds of kilometers away. Now you are trying to get that through the entire power distribution grid, okay, to the end consumers, right? Now there's a popular thing in the energy world called grid losses, right? They call it grid loss. Essentially what that means is, okay, I created say 500 megawatts of energy in my power plant, but when I see the entire consumption on the other side for the city that I'm trying to power, the consumption is only say 460 megawatts, right? Okay, for that given reporting period or the measurement period. So 40 megawatts is lost in distribution, right? So looking at your distribution lines, right, how the energy is going through the wires, the nuts and bolts of the distribution, right, all the way to the end consumer. Okay, the entire cabling system, the entire distribution layer. Okay, let's say at a point where you make say one line into multiple lines, the split systems of your grid. Okay, there could be losses at every point of interaction. There could be losses in your cabling systems. Okay, there could be losses in the consumption layer of your distribution also when it is actually going to the end buildings and houses, right, and the end consumers. Okay, so there could be losses there as well. Okay, now how do we control these losses is really figuring out, okay, at what are the originating points where these losses could happen, right? We being able to add monitoring mechanism to these points where typically the losses are seen. Okay, being able to collate all that information back into our computing systems and say, okay, hey, looking at this, most of our losses are happening where we are splitting the electricity into these 10 areas, and we have now these 10 lines running to different localities in our city. That splitting system, the distribution on the splitting system is where the most of the losses are happening, right? So the entire remediation can now focus on that particular area. So you are now able to recover from these losses quicker than what you would typically do because of the power of say AI computing in the background, right? Because it can immediately tell you, okay, hey, this is where you most likely are going wrong, because I did look at your information and data. This is exactly how you are going wrong. So imagine the power companies, the distribution companies slowly improving over the years versus AI coming in and being able to tell them, okay, this is exactly what needs to happen. It is way more efficient, and we'll see better throughput, okay, as time goes by. All right. Okay, so smart grids is a great use case from the perspective of like looking at the AI for sustainability as a use case, right? Okay, we talked about renewable energy. Okay, how do you harness the natural resources for sustainable power, right? Okay, so we took an example of windmill, but now look at the solar cells as examples, right? Okay, how the solar cells are generating energy in a solar plant. Okay, now the solar cells are essentially chemicals that are photoreactive, right? So they react to the sun rays, right? They take the sun rays, being able to create that into measurable power output, and then you save that power output and distribute it, right? So in that also, in the renewable energy segment, where do you deploy your solar plant? All the way from the locational accuracy on where the actual plant gets deployed, okay, to what the angles of this say solar implementation, the solar panels should be as against the patterns of the sun that we see in that particular locality, right? then what is the type of solar cell that you should use in that solar plant for the nature of sunlight that we get in that area? Because the nature of sunlight that we get, say, in India versus that we get here. Okay, so if you look at our geography right now here, we are pretty much, say, cold, right? Like we are below at around 0 degrees for 4 or 5 months of the year. Okay, 0 degrees Celsius, I mean, right? Even today, right now, it is just like less than 0 degrees Celsius. Even in those cases, okay, we do have solar based power available. Okay, people have solar roofs here on top of their houses, right? Okay, so it's not that, okay, you cannot generate solar energy in such kind of geographies. The nature of the solar cell, the kind of implementation that is done slightly differs as against our part of geographies. So the entire design and the efficiency behind these kind of renewable energy resources, okay, will be more accurate, more efficient when you deploy the likes of AI in these cases. Okay. Any questions, guys? I think I have covered some material. So let me know if you think you are getting a feel for this. Any other we have so far. Rahul sir, are there any questions in the chat also? If not, I think we can continue.
No any questions, sir.
Okay, good. Awesome. Okay, sounds good. So we'll keep going. All right, so smart grids and energy we talked about. Okay, so energy consumption on, yeah, so consumption part, right? Like the consumption is also important. The grids and the renewable energy, we already looked at the solar plant as an example. Okay, consumption is also an important aspect. So buildings, houses, right, and factories, everybody is energy hungry, right? And now what you will see as a trend come through. Okay, we talked about the only good parts of the AI, right? Okay, but now look at the flip side. Okay, all these power generation networks, the grids, are going to be so heavily loaded because of the demand for AI's, say, computing requirements. Okay, I don't know if you guys followed the news, but then so the likes of Amazon, Microsoft, Google, they are building what they call it as server farms. Okay, you will see that in India also that trend will catch up. It literally means, okay, they have pretty much like big farms, right, with just filled with computers and servers. Okay, they are like huge giant data centers is what these companies are coming up with. And the reason for that is, okay, we talked about all this number crunching, information crunching, intelligence, all of that, right? Okay, there are billions and billions of people, okay, every day, okay, trying to get something out of the chat GPTs of the world, the Geminis of the world, right? The Microsoft Bard and all of these platforms, right? So for them to service these billions of people, right, and these are just like human beings, right, then there are computer systems also going after AI, right? So the need for computing is pretty much never seen before, right? It is at that level. Okay, because of that you need bigger data centers, bigger computers, right, bigger, say, facilities to do all this crunching. It creates a lot of demand for power. Okay, so now what that is creating is, okay, it is creating a need to reduce power on somewhere else, right? Otherwise you need to start creating newer power plants everywhere, right? How do you service all these computers that, say, Microsoft is coming up with? Somebody has to give them power. So if you try to just hook up our current power lines to them, we cannot service them. Okay, we are not even generating enough energy to service them. So what that does is it creates a backend requirement, okay, for reducing consumption in areas where we are currently consuming it. Okay, so now you have, say, smart buildings, right? We talked about areas where we want to reduce consumption, right? We talked about energy management that we are doing for hotels, for example. Nobody's in the room. Why are you conditioning? Why are you running the air conditioner? Why are you running the fans, right? All the way to, finding ways where factories can say, okay, hey, don't add too much pressure on the standard industrial grid for our power. Okay, can you figure out better ways of consuming, right? Let's say you have IT parks in India are very, very energy hungry, right? I come from Pune. right? So Pune has the one of the bigger IT parks. Okay, so they always encourage these companies like Cognizant, Infosys. Okay, they encourage these companies to be more efficient on their energy because these big rooms are always air conditioned. Okay, high on the resource consumptions on all the way from water to all the other resources, right? So they encourage people, right, to bring more automation in their buildings, right? Water should not be running as soon as I move my hands away, right? So those type of technology improvements are very important, right? All the way from our, say, toilet systems to our sinks to our actual power consumption. Every part should be efficient, okay, so that our demand for energy is going down, okay, at our buildings and homes and residences, okay, to a point where I'll just give you an example here in the US. Okay, energy companies are giving out free smart thermostats. Okay, imagine that, right? Google Nest and all these fancy thermostats that we have. Typically, we need to buy them at say $100, which is say 9,000 some rupees, right? Okay, companies are giving those thermostats for free. Okay, the reason for that is they are saying, please, I'm giving you this thermostat, put it in your home. Okay, reduce your consumption. Okay, this is a smart thermostat. It will automatically know you are not in the home. It will reduce the temperature. It will actually adjust the temperature, right? So it will take care of the energy management by itself. So they are mobilizing the residential customers, the industrial customers to do this so that the demand on the grid is reducing, right? The energy grid is reducing because they now have a requirement to power big data centers, big premises. So that's why energy management and reduction in consumption is very important. Okay, and of course AI plays a bigger role in this as well because of the backend computing that needs to happen, right? It will let you know exactly what measures you should take to reduce the consumption so we can power the AI itself. So it is actually helping us help itself, basically, is what it is, right? So all right, so agriculture, if you see farming techniques, right, like how we measure, again, India, we are a largely agricultural country, right? So a lot of people's livelihood depends on agriculture and the output that it generates, right? So slowly, as you can see, with the government initiatives done by non-profit organizations, the proactive farmers reaching out and finding ways to deploy technology, right? It will help us understand all the way from the quality of the soil, okay, the type of crop that we create on such a soil, okay, the amount of water you need, okay, for that crop to be successfully yielded, right, the amount of water that is available in that area, the amount of power outages that we typically have in that given farm, right, and then the demand side. Okay, now if you see, there are so many things that play a part for us to be a successful farmer, right? Okay, all of these have to play a part. Okay, only because onions are getting a good rate. If everybody starts putting onions in their farm, okay, you created a demand problem, right? Demand supply. You created a problem on that side, essentially hurting yourself, right? Okay, now, okay, let's say onions is the right choice, okay, because that's not really the very popular, say, crop right now. Are you even getting the right onions? Does it even have the right qualities? Does it have the longevity that it needs to travel to big cities? You should not get, say, rotten before it reaches the city, right? So the quality of the crop, okay, it all depends on the type of resources that go into that particular crop, right? Now technology can figure out, okay, looking at samples of your soil, samples of the air patterns, the amount of sun available, the patterns of the year of the sun, right? Okay, the amount of say insects and the contaminations that we can have because of natural patterns that we have. How do you protect your crop? All these areas, right, where people are relying on traditional data, we rely on experience, we rely on what our ancestors told us. Okay, nothing wrong with that, but again, the idea is, if we go way more scientific and use the power of artificial intelligence behind it, okay, because now you know, okay, if I'm taking this soil sample and being able to understand the chemical composition of this soil, okay, I can actually put it into an agricultural AI agent. Okay, it will tell me exactly how to run my farm, all the way from the fertilizer that I'm using for such kind of soil, the amount of, say, seeds that we should be doing, overseeding versus optimum seeding, right? Okay, how do I do that? What is the amount of water levels? Should I do drip watering water system? Should I do spray water systems? What is good for these crops? All the way to availability of water in my area. So it will know all these moving components, and now you are not second guessing yourself, right? In figuring out how to run your own farm. Okay, you have technology to help you. That you are not relying on your friend in the next farm to tell you, okay, you should do onions. Onions are going to be the next hit. AI will also know, okay, that the city, so let's say the city of Jaipur next to us here, right? I'm doing a farm somewhere in a remote location in Rajasthan, and then Jaipur has a new, say, IT park coming in, right? Okay, then IT park typically has a need for such and such, say, vegetables or whatever the patterns, right? AI will already know that because it always is reading news as well, right? So it is reading news. It knows that, hey, this is the kind of demand that this particular geography is going to generate. It might just tell you that, hey, you should be growing mushrooms because there are some mushroom processing plants that are going to happen outskirts of Jaipur. Okay, there is going to be a demand for that. Now, for you to grow mushroom, your soil has so and so problems. You should add this kind of fertilizer, this kind of seeding technique, whatever it is, right? So I'm saying it will help you generate the entire plan on how you better your farm. Okay, and I just gave a bad example of mushroom, but I'm just making a point. Yeah. All right, guys. So even sustainability topic is tied to agriculture because how do you utilize resources is important from a sustainability standpoint. Yeah. Now waste management is tricky as well. Okay, how do we take waste from industrial residential consumers? Okay, all the way from, say, how information gets sorted. Okay, like all, not information, the actual the waste itself, right? The garbage. How do you sort the garbage into, say, cans versus plastic versus paper, recyclable versus wet waste? Okay, that sorting mechanism, any inefficiencies in the sorting mechanism could be enhanced using the power of technology behind it, right? You could monitor, like while it is doing, you could have monitoring based on drone in terms of how your garbage is collected from end locations. Is there any leakage? Are we dropping anything? All the way from that to drones monitoring our dump yards, right? Okay, are there any contaminations happening there? And it can help in collection as well as tracking. How do we engage community? How do we send out, say, information on social media through the power of AI? You can create the content for that. You can engage the community from waste management standpoint. Circular economy is essentially where you take the recyclable material, okay, and be able to circulate that and create sustainable products as output, right? From recycled paper, recycled material. Okay, I think I heard Mr. Nitin Gadkari say that they are trying to create roads out of recycled plastic. So stuff like that, right? Like being able to take some waste, be able to recycle and use it for final consumption in a real life scenario, right? So waste management also will see better improvement. You look at the green spaces, cities will create green spaces, right? From a sustainability standpoint. Okay, being able to run your big, say, energy hungry buildings, factories using renewable energy is an important aspect. Being able to use technology to deploy these systems. We talked about waste management. Okay, getting people together, like getting information back into the right people who are doing the energy management. Could be big corporations, could be government officials, right? Being able to use the technology behind it and artificial intelligence to power them with the right information so that make the right decisions. Okay, being able to use say, sustainable transport. Okay, so there is a very interesting article on electric vehicles versus self-driving electric vehicles, right? I think a lot of us have seen the self-driving Teslas somewhere on YouTube. Some people have seen live in action also. Okay, I was fortunate to actually see a self-driving car, okay, with no driver also, right? I was at one point in San Francisco. Okay, so literally the car drives by itself. It is very scary. Okay, so I was scared. Okay, but then it's very interesting to see the car can drive itself. It is completely electric. But now what happens is, because it is self-driving, okay, not just EV, but a self-driving EV is more sustainable than just an EV. Okay, even that there are studies done on that. So if you look at it from transport perspective, the industry is going through a major revolution. Okay, in India also, I think there are great electric car companies coming through. Okay, so this revolution is definitely going to improve our need for, say, consumption, and then also it's going to help the carbon emissions and sustainability as overall output, right? And again, AI is the backbone of, say, self-driving cars, right? In this case, okay, and when you have self-driving cars, people will be more encouraged to travel together. So not everybody is taking their car out just for individual travel. Pooling will improve, slowly reducing the demand. Okay, number of accidents, number of, say, traffic light situations. Okay, because the discipline is automatically going to improve, because they are driven by programs, right? This entire technology, not by emotions, right? So that's the idea, right? We talked about community and engagement through social media as well. Now there is something called ESG. Okay, in the corporate world, you'll hear the word ESG. Okay, so when you join when our kids will join, say, their own career paths after the education is done, there are very good careers available in ESG. Okay, ESG really stands for environment, social, and governance. Okay, so companies are encouraged, in some cases mandated, to have an ESG department. Okay, so that they do care about environment. Okay, they are promoting emission improvements, they are promoting renewable energy, so they care about environment. Companies should care about environment. As I said, some cases government mandates that they have ESG programs, right? So environmental aspect is important. We talked about how AI can improve from all the angles of environmental stuff, right? We talked about crop examples, the renewable energy examples, right? AI is going to be very powerful. Okay, how do you bring the social impact through big corporations? Let's say with companies like, say, Tatas of the world, Reliances of the world, right? Okay, how do they create a social impact? They always have what is called as a CSR group, right? Corporate Social Responsibility Group. Okay, in their companies. Okay, they do all these community events, making sure they're able to make a change in the society, right? So in such cases, using the AI to determine what kind of effort we should do from a social standpoint, that is going to be critical as well, right? Guys, just 1 second. I think I'm running low on battery. Just 1 second. Sorry about that. So we talked about the social part of it, and then the governance, right? The last pillar is the governance. So if you look at governance, how does government come up with strategies? So the entire geography that it is governing is able to deploy ESG principles, right? What are our strategies for making policy changes in terms of how businesses are consuming energy, how energy is being even created, how it is distributed, what are the citizens facing policies that a government should do. All of that is important from an ESG's, the governance side of it, right? So AI able to help our, say, energy and conservation ministers, right, at a central government or a state government, all the way to our municipal governments. All these strategies now have access to artificial intelligence to make right decisions effectively, right? So it's going to be very powerful, and slowly I think we'll start seeing the impact of that as well, right? Okay. And then again, like, there are a lot of case studies where ESG goals are achieved using artificial intelligence in Western geographies, in some cases in Indian smart cities. we are able to deploy these technologies to good effect, right? So there are case studies available on this aspect. So specifically from an India perspective, government has launched the smart city program in a lot of cases. Of course, like there is mixed feedback for all the smart cities, right? Some people see the effect of that, some people say that they do not see the effect of that, but the opportunity definitely exists, right? When government is allocating different departments, government is allocating funds for this kind of programs called smart cities. And I'm lucky to say that, Solapur, where I belong from India perspective, it is also one of the smart cities, and we have seen some improvements at a city level as well, because it is a smart city. Now, being able to bring this new technology available for the commissioners of the smart cities, the CEOs of the smart cities as a council, right, is going to be important. Now they can harness this technology from an urban development planning standpoint, right? How, when you are saying smart cities, okay, where should the industrial area be? Where should the water conservation happen? What are the smart city in terms of road constructions, additional infrastructure developments? Smart city administrators will have better access to technology now, right? We talked about agriculture already, right? So big opportunity in agriculture for India. Okay, I would highly encourage, okay, people, I mean, our kids who are from, say, not big city environments, right? Okay, they are close to, say, agricultural type of setups. We should encourage them to learn, okay, the new patterns of, say, the information and the AI type of technology available in the farming industry. Okay, and again, if we as a company, Dwarpal as a company, or me personally, if we can do any kind of help in that aspect, we'll be more than happy to do so at making that information available. Okay, kids should learn these techniques and be able to make a difference from where they belong, right? We could be in a small remote location, but technology is now available everywhere, so we should utilize this opportunity, help people around us, okay, from an agricultural sustainability perspective, right? We talked about climate monitoring, on how do we measure this data. We gave an example of, say, the Delhi's pollution, right? So you will see slowly technology being deployed to those type of situations. So the decision making can happen quickly, the remediation can happen quickly and more efficiently, because we have better monitoring and technology and tools available for pollution control. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we talked about data visualization and initiatives in India, right? So if you look at it from the overall stuff that we discussed today, right? Like we looked at the GPT, we looked at artificial intelligence, okay, and how it actually goes into the world of sustainability, right? All the way from environment to energy conservation, right? We looked at the social impact, the community aspect, the governance aspect from ESG and corporate, right? So it's important that we take this forward, okay, and be able to impart this knowledge to the kids that we are going to oversee in their education, and be able to make that difference, right? So as educators, right, what my perspective at least, and I would highly encourage you guys to chime in and provide your feedback. Okay, so find ways where kids are able to utilize whatever technology mechanisms we have access to. Okay, not like some of the schools may not have access to laptops, right? But the AI tools are available on every smartphone. Okay, get a Gemini going, get a Chat GPT app going, right? Encourage the kids to utilize that, right? Of course, not to complete their own homework and assignments. That is not the idea. Okay, but give them a project, right? Okay, we can give them a small project for sustainability. Say, okay, hey, if we want to improve the quality of, say, water available here, drinking water, okay, can you create that as a small project and tell us, using the power of AI, what is your, create a white paper. Okay, kids will learn amazing stuff, and they will surprise us with the information that comes back, when they do this kind of study, right? So education on sustainability is important. Okay, so if there are ways, some of you guys, if you are in the decision making capacities to create the course content, I will highly encourage sustainability should be some topic somewhere within the course curriculum for schooling systems, so kids are aware of what the world of sustainability means, right? And then not only are they learning, but they are preparing for future, right? As I said, there are amazing amount of jobs available or will become available in the world of AI for sustainability. So utilize those and make sure we are able to get the skills imparted to our kids. Okay. All right. So I think embrace. I would really encourage everybody here and the kids that you are managing, right, to embrace the power of artificial intelligence on sustainability. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Then I think that's pretty much it I had from the presentation. Here is my email ID at the end. Okay, if there is anything that you want to engage with me, any follow-up questions. Okay, sorry, it was a long session after another long session before that. So thank you so much for your patience, everybody. And I hope we are able to at least get some understanding on sustainability, right? Any questions, anybody after this?
Hello, sir. One
Yes.
question from in chat box. Vishal
Yes.
Patel, sir, asking about how feasible is AI-based precision farming for small-scale farmers in India?
Sorry, say that again. Like the small scale farmers in India, how is AI precision? You mean?
How feasible is AI-based precision farming for small?
Yes, yeah. The very good question. So let's say again, like I come from Solapur, right, like a very small town. Okay, my aunt and everybody had farms also. So the way this is going to help at a smallest level also, right? Again, every farmer will not have access to this technology, but if we are in a position to really get some farmers together in our say geography, right, wherever you belong, right, you already know the type of soil, you have data available on what people have been doing, right? The way to do this using AI, right, is, let's say, start with a Gemini, I would say, or Google Gemini. Okay, start and tell Google Gemini. The way to do this is you can literally talk to Google Gemini, right? You can just say, hey, I am in so and so location in India. Okay, here is my the same here is the data available on my soil. It might be available in our say local gram panchayat office or municipal office. What kind of soil is it? Acidic soil, alkaline soil, what kind of soil composition, whatever data is available, doesn't have to be completely precise. Here is where we are doing currently farming. Here are the crops that we do. Okay, and we need to tell Gemini, you as in Gemini are the expert in farming. Okay, make sure you have access to all the best practices of farming that are available worldwide. Okay, now here is my data. Okay, here's my soil composition, whatever information is available, my weather pattern, here is where I'm located. Okay, here is what I'm currently doing as crops, here are the fertilizers I'm using for that. Okay, here is the water availability. Okay, and then patterns of rain, we are tell it, okay, we are a monsoon kind of geography. Provide as much information as you have about our farms, our current geography. Then you ask them, okay, hey, recommend me, okay, what kind of crops we should do in this type of geography. Okay, if you have any suggestions there, okay, ask about that. Then also ask the Gemini, now look at my end customers, right? Okay, I go to these cities. Okay, these cities is where I actually sell my crops. Okay, here is how my distribution works. Okay, so you need to ask Gemini on that as well. Okay, can you suggest me different mechanisms on how I can do better distribution? Should I go to the next city instead of this? Okay, are there better rates available? Because it might have access to what kind of say crop related rates are being offered in other geographies around you. Let's say all the way from what we should grow based on the resources that we have, all the way to the distribution and the end consumption. It will give us the plan. The problem is the farmers around us may not have access to this technology or knowledge on how to use it. So we as say educators, people who have access to this technology, we should be able to take it to them, form some smaller groups and be able to help our farmers. Okay, I hope that answers the question.
Okay, Yasmin ma'am, please ask the question.
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
Sir, my question is again for the precision farming.
Yes.
AI we are using in a farm, which I had visited in a KVK in Diwali vacation. But I want to know more about how we are going to implement the AGI for the precision farming. And
Right.
my main means the objective of that, key without internet connectivity, is it possible to implement it?
Yeah. So see the way it was a very very good question, by the way. Internet question is spot on. Okay, so the edge AI doesn't have to be internet enabled. Okay, number one. Okay, so we as a matter of fact, our company, right, we have created edge AI devices that are completely offline. Okay, so they just to run on Bluetooth, and as all of us know, Bluetooth is only available within say 15 meters of where you operate, just like a Bluetooth headphone, right? Okay, the way to do this, and again there are like a lot of other internet technologies called LoRa networks and all that. I'm not even going there. Yasmin, good question though. So the edge AI, okay, in the context of this, okay, so edge AI can monitor again all the way from, say, there are sensors available, okay, that can measure data from a soil and be able to make recommendation, the moistness of soil, okay, the water level in the soils, okay, the composition of that, right, the chemical composition of that. There are sensors and readers available for that. So you start collecting data at that level. Okay, now edge AI. Okay, so I just want to make sure, Yasmin, we understand the difference, right? You can have a small IoT device that is collecting this data, and then now you have your Bluetooth enabled device with the, say, farmers or whoever is this person coordinating all this thing. They can collect data while they're at the farm because there is no internet available, right? You actually need to go near these few sensors, right, within say 15-20 meters of range. Okay, you can do what is called as Zigbee network, Yasmin. It runs as a pretty much a coordinated local area mesh. Okay, so you don't have to go to so many sensors. You can just centralize that into one place on the farm. Okay, now you have all the data available. Edge AI is not necessarily just sending that information to some cloud and then get it back, and the cloud has the AI. Okay, you can actually have local processors, right? Okay, on that AI device itself. Imagine a control panel and the central location in the farm. It has, let's say, the Raspberry Pi style of computing running. Okay, with local storage and local computing available using what is called as a SLM, right? Small language model. Because you will not have access to Chat GPT now anymore. But what you did is you took the big world of Chat GPT, you created a very small SLM model that only knows farming. It doesn't know how, say, sustainability in industrial area work. It doesn't know anything else in the world. It doesn't know social media, nothing. It's very specific to how farming was. It's like a PhD in agriculture kind of a guy, okay, on that SLM. That can run as a local agent on that control panel, okay, and then that becomes the edge AI complete module. Yes, ma'am. You don't need internet because it is running on a local network, okay, either on Zigbee or Bluetooth. So
Great.
I hope that answers. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much. Your session was very, means it is fruitful for me, actually. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate your time. Thank you. Any other questions anybody has? Thank you so much for the feedback. I'm reading it as well, so it means a lot. So this information will be available offline as well. So Rahul sir, I'll send you a PDF of this. Nitin might send you as well.
Yes.
Okay, so that if you want to distribute, you could do so. Yeah.
So now, thank you very much, sir, for this informative session, for explaining the history of AI, then AI for sustainability engineering with real-time examples like energy management, emission tracking, smart grids, and renewable energy. So I convey a few words for you, sir, Dauchi sir, and Nitin sir. It is very proud moment for us, you and Nitin sir, Indian people, who turn a dream into reality by running Dwarpal Incorporation successfully in the United States. Your journey reflects courage, vision, and determination to break boundaries beyond borders, from India to the global stage. This achievement is an inspiration to aspiring founders everywhere, prove that talent, hard work, and belief can create impact anywhere in the world. So wishing continued success and growth on this remarkable journey. Sir.
Thank you so much, Rahul. Sir,
Very
means
thank
a
you.
lot. Means a lot. Thank you so much.
Very thank you. So I request to everyone, please on the video and we taking some screenshots.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you, sir.
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 Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, shall
Thank
we
you,
off
sir.
the video or on the video?
Yes, sir. Surely you can off the video, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody, and to meet again next day, tomorrow at the 6 p.m. So thank you very much. Good night, everybody.